Good morning, students. Students, in the previous two parts, we have learned about women's participation in the freedom struggle as well as the various movements in which they have tried to prove the living conditions. We also learned about the anti Iraq movement, and this was brought about by the UN. The UN had also declared 1975 as the International Women's Year and started various programs to bring about peace, development, and equality between men and women. We also learned about different laws enacted by the women in favor of women. Let us learn further, that is awareness against the dowry tradition. Now, in spite of bringing out Dowry Prohibition Act, there were many incidents like women were burned to death. Sari Pallu catches fire while cooking. These were the highlighted headlines in those days. And women slips into well while washing clothes, drowns and dies. These continued to be reported. Okay? Investigation still revealed dowry to be the most frequent cause of such deaths. In 1990, the number of dowry deaths was 4,835, and in 1993 it was 5,377. So you can see how the number has increased of regarding the death to dowry. These numbers will impress upon you the seriousness of the issue. Then there were many dowry related violences like physical torture of the wife. Then there were acid burns. The wife used to run away from the husband's house, etc. So these were all the various issues which were related because of what? Because of dowry. Next point we will learn is about family courts 1984. Family courts were established to resolve conflicts arising out of differences within marriage and domestic problems as well as issues such as alimony, single parenthood, separation, care of children, and ownership, which are all related to the family situation. These family courts give priority to mutual understanding over witnesses and evidence and to console over lawyers. Emphasizes is on resolving issues quickly but justly. Okay, so this was regarding family courts. This was started in 1985. Then the next point is there were various famous trials which involved the case of alimony. This was started in 1985. A fixed amount. Now, what is regarding trial involving alimony? So, a fixed amount was to be paid to a married woman for a upkeep by the husband who has divorced her. So, if the husband wants to get a divorce, he had to give certain amount of money to the women. That is called alimony. In the case of, there's an example given to us in the case of Muhammad Ahmad Khan versus Shah Bano Begum. The Supreme Court gave the verdict that Shah Bano Begum had the right to alimony. However, religious organization protested against the verdict. As a result, the Muslims Women's Act Protection of Rights on Divorce was passed by the parliament. So these were the various acts which were given by the government to the women. Okay. Let's go to the next slide. Now the next is the Sati Prevention Act 1987. Now you all have learnt about practice of sati in your previous standards. There was an act that was passed in the year 1987. Now what was this act? This act prevents the practice of sati, that is post burning and burying alive of widows. Also the people glorifying practice of building temples in the name of the sacrificed widow will be considered as the punishable offense. Now, what was this act about? Why did the act come into existence in 1987? There was a case on 4th September 1987. Roop Kanwal, a married woman, committed sati. That means she jumped into the fire. She did not do this of her own free will. That means that was not her wish to jump into the fire. She was coerced into doing so. Means she was forced to do so. Committing sati, glorifying the practice of sati, were all illegal acts. The women activist and journalist Meena Menon, Geeta Seshu, Sujata Anandan, Anu Joseph, and Kalpana Sharma investigated the case. So all these women started looking into the case. In 1998, then the government passed the Sati Prevention Act with very stringent provisions. So this act was passed in 1987. Then that it was a punishable offense. Next, we'll go to protection of human rights. How to protect our rights. In 1993, this law was enacted to prevent injustice to men and women. The National Human Rights Commission was also formed for this purpose. In some states, the State Human Rights Commission was also formed on the same lines. This law, which deals with collective oppression, the social conditions of divorced women, women and secure workplace, played an affecting role in mitigating injustice to women. Mitigating means making something less severe. So these were all the different types of acts which were given to the women. Okay. So here we will end with this video. We will learn the next part of this lesson video in the next class. Thank you for listening, children. Goodbye. Take care.